On Times Now Super Prime Time.
Aarti Jaira joins the debate. Gaurav Bhatia joins the debate. Pawan Verma is taking on Piyush Goyal. They are both in the studio tonight. Randeep Surjewala stays back. So, Piyush, this is an interesting strategy because Narendra Modi got his facts wrong so many times, repeatedly, again and again. And this was debated and questioned. So, Narendra Modi wants to do a counter here by saying that Sonia Gandhi should get her homework. It seems to be an attempt clearly at trying to get on the aggressive after being put on the defensive.
But Arnab, Narendra Modi never went wrong on his facts. Just because Nitish Kumar went wrong on his facts, I'm surprised that a person like you who's heard the speech right now in front of us.
Which speech?
The speeches that you played out.
The Chandragupta speech, for example?
Absolutely. For example, the Chandragupta speech, he never spoke about what so-called Nitish tried to attribute to his speech or some of the media persons tried to attribute. So I think you guys should better check
really?
the facts
So
before you talk about Narendra.
All the references which have happened, I mean, I will go into the economic part of it, but all the references which have happened at the Hunka rally about Takshila,
Yes,
about Alexander, about Chandragupta Maurya,
well, then
all of these references
of them were absolutely factually based on reality.
So I'll get a quick response.
When he talked about Gyan Yog, about Gyan Yog, now, when you talk about education, you talk about Oxbridge, don't you?
Arnab.
Or if you talk about education in America, you talk of Harvard and Stanford.
I just want to say...
All I know is that Chandragupta Maurya founded the Maurya dynasty in 322 BC. I thought Narendra Modi referred to him.
No, but how can you attribute words to him, Arnab?
Precisely what he said.
Mr. Piyush Goyal would like us to believe otherwise. And he will also like us to believe that Alexandra lost in Bihar.
Well, that was a poetry he recited,
and don't mind, one day he might also say Bihar is in Afghanistan.
No, just what I want to compliment you for the courage, the loyalty and the commitment you have shown.
You can't really understand the level of lack of geography, history that he has, and that the BJP leaders are going to twist.
We are starting therefore 1 minute. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I agree. 1 second. We divide this debate into two parts since you began with the historical references. The first part we'll spend some time on the historical references only because Piyush Goyal sitting next to me put the ball back in the media court and said the media and all of Modi's rivals got it wrong. Yes, Pawan Verma, you can respond to it.
All I want to say to Piyush is that it shows great courage on his part.
Courage.
To give this kind of interpretational ingenuity to what the nation heard and the context in which it has made. You have to bend over backwards to reinterpret it, and I admire the attempt. But I'm afraid it's inaccurate.
I don't know, but people have a hunchback, but I don't have a hunchback. I'm straight. And I'm going by the verbatim reports in front of me. अगर ज्ञान युग की बात करें तो नालंदा और तक्षशिला का स्मरण होता है. I think that's a statement we all make when we are discussing education.
Next sentence. What is the next sentence?
When we are talking of education,
he's countering. 1 minute. He's countering you. What?
Immediately after saying that, and he says that is why we salute Bihar, or words to that effect.
Yes, because
and therefore,
did he say Takshashila is in Bihar?
He never said that. He said, अगर हम ज्ञान युग की बात करें तो तक्षशिला और नालंदा की याद नालंदा और तक्षशिला.
Did he
say Takshashila is in Bihar, which
did he say that
Surjewala or Pawan ji have dreamed up? I think they have to check their geography.
Did he say Sikandar was defeated on the banks of the Ganga by Biharis?
He never said that. I have the verbatim what he said about.
He says you're not quoting one sentence.
Sure, you say every sentence.
You see, he was paying tribute to Bihar and he mentions Nalanda and Takshashila. And he says, I pay tribute to Bihar. Takshashila is on the other side of India. Then in the context of Alexander, he says that it was Bihar that defeated him at the Ganga. Now I admire... First of all, let me say I admire the attempt.
You must admire the attempt. I am a person who deserves admiration.
And it's very heartfelt.
But Pawanji, when did he ever say that he was defeated? That Alexander was defeated by the Biharis?
Just like
you must kindly read what he said about Alexander. It's a poetry that he recited.
Okay.
A poetry in which the concluding line spoke about the Gangetic Plains.
No, in future.
And the Gangetic Plains in history have been often referred to.
No, as far as I know, I'm no historian. I'm no historian, but I have this much sense to know that Alexander, if I am not mistaken, crossed the river Jhelum, known by another name in Greek history texts, and vanquished Porus, so he came as far. Where's the Gangetic Plain come in here?
It's a poetry recited.
So it's a poetry.
In a poetic, figurative sense.
He didn't say that.
He didn't say that. The poet said it. If the poet said, and the poet also, kindly hear me out, he said, he spoke about the Gangetic Plains figuratively about India. So I think the important thing to note is what the words were. The words were, the one who was like the unchecked ship of God, the one whose map stretched
poetry is that?
Beyond this world.
Whose poetry is that?
The one who crossed the 7 oceans with ease.
Whose poetry is that?
The one who rested not in peace.
Whose poetry is that?
Nor balked in adversity.
Whose poetry is that?
He drowned when it came to the Gangetic land.
Whose poetry is that? Whose poetry is that?
That's a poetry which he quoted over there. I'll probably check up whose poetry it was next time when I come.
How can you quote poetry and not know the author and then say
I'll find that out also, but it's a poetry because he's not a Bihari. And he did not make up that whole Bihari sentence.
This is
by the way,
incredible. No, why don't we all admit? Why don't we make an honest admission? Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot of papers here. You've come with your papers. You've come with a lot of papers. I have my papers. Let's just admit you can get it wrong sometimes.
No,
you can do it. Yeah, admit you get it wrong sometimes. You get it wrong, we move on. The more defensive you get.
My friend, the more defensive get it wrong. The way Mr. Anand Sharma gets it wrong repeatedly. The way Mr. Kapil Sibal gets it wrong repeatedly. The way Mr. Chidambaram gets it wrong repeatedly.
We'll come to that. Now you want...
And the way Mr. Rahul Gandhi tends to suggest that 9,500 kilometers of roads.
It's Mr. Surjewala getting a counter on the other side tonight. By the way, we say...
complete turnaround of
thing to say, yes, I made a mistake. I don't have an appropriate sense of India's history and geography. That's all.
No, but he didn't make... My friend, if he had made a mistake, we would do that.
Why does Piyushi...
The mistake he made at your end.
Why don't you advise him to just say sorry and say, yes, I was wrong and I correct myself?
No, but my friend, if you'll read the speech or hear the speech,
he can just simply say,
then you will realize that who made the mistake.
I lost my...
Gaurav Bhatia seems to be interested in providing... Gaurav Bhatia, realizing that the Congress party's relationship with the Samajwadi Party has strained of late, seems to be interested in covering fire to the BJP. Gaurav Bhatia, the floor is yours tonight. To Piyush Goyal, in case you're coming in his defense.
I think you are preempting. Rather, I was about to say this, that irrespective of who the prime ministerial candidate is, sometimes anybody can go wrong. And Mr. Piyush Goyal is trying to...
I thought you have just one prime ministerial candidate and that's Mulayam Singh Yadav.
Whatever Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav, my leader, says, he says after thoroughly checking his facts, and whatever speeches he makes are made in the right context, historical context. So, I think there at least from times now, you should accept the fact that he's not been factually wrong at least.
He rightfully reprimanded his son Akhilesh for the riots in UP and told him you better learn and bring development to UP
Mr.
like Gujarat.
I
acknowledge that Mulayam Singh ji was very right in saying that UP should develop like Gujarat.
It is very important that you understand that if the sense of history is missing from Mr. Narendra Modi's book, it is because also, Arnab, that probably he takes the people who are attending the rallies very lightly. He is not doing his preparation well, and he thinks that they can be fooled by rhetorics without giving any factual basis for what he is saying. There is no sense of perspective.
I have just one. I'm not getting it.
Everybody's so unnerved with the lakhs of people coming to attend Modi's rally that the unnerve is palpable on their faces.
You will appreciate it. You understand some this.
1 minute.
No, you
I want to go to
Hindustani.
One minute. Serious point being made here by the studio.
It's not that serious, but it's very relevant. There's a very beautiful couplet in Hindustani, and you both understand it.
Wait. There's a 1 minute. Because tonight Piyush Goyal says this is not history but poetry being quoted by Mr. Modi. The JDU, whose relationship with Mr. Modi isn't...
Modi should quote poetry of which the source is known, and he should know what the poetry really means and whether it is right.
But this one is simpler.
So not he should tell the audience that this
one is simpler.
1 minute. 1 minute. This is, you see, this is 1 minute.
Did he do that?
One minute. Please. One thing not known about Pawan Verma is that besides now turning into being a politician and having been a diplomat, you see, he's also got a literary side. He's attending a literary festival, and he says tonight, my opponent says this is poetry. We have poetry versus poetry.
Yeah,
everyone should listen to this. This is not a mushaira session on the news, but this is poetry versus poetry. For the first time on national television, the JDU's poetry versus the BJP's poetry. Go ahead. What's your poetry?
My response to the defense that Piyush gave is just simple. 2 lines, very simple. Khatawar. Khatawar means guilty. Khatawar samjhegi duniya tujhe. Bas itni bhi zyada safai na de. Bas itni bhi zyada safai na de.
मुझे लगता है बिहार में जितने लोगों ने वहां पे वो रैली देखी और जो लाखों की संख्या देख के नीतीश जी को तकलीफ हुई, उससे खतावार और गिल्टी तो मुझे लगता है नीतीश जी और जेडीयू है, उनको चिंता करने की जरूरत है कि जनता उनको खतावार होने की सजा
Aarti
देगी।
Jairath, who should get their facts right? Aarti.
Arnab, this is better than a Punch and Judy show, yaar.
I'm getting into the economic part of it next.
I have questions for Piyush Goyal.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, before you get on to the economic part of it, I have 2 questions for Piyush Goyal. Why did Narendra Modi mix up the name of the founder president of the Jan Sangh?
That was a slip of tongue, Aarti. Come on, we all know that. That was a slip of tongue.
Number 2, why has the Karnataka unit of the BJP requested that Narendra Modi should not get into historical facts when he's speaking at the rally in Karnataka? That he should just stick to present day stuff. So why are they scared of Narendra Modi, going down the path of history?
Very true.
Aarti, I don't know who gave you this Karnataka theory, but nobody tells Narendra Bhai what speech he has to give or not give.
It's in the paper.
As regards
the same paper for which you wrote.
Yeah, but the papers papers wrote what Anand Sharma also said, by the way, which was full of fiction rather than fact. So the same paper wrote Anand Sharma's fiction and called it fact also. So you can't rely on everything that paper says. You should rely to the facts of the Planning Commission.
Your big icon. Why did he get his name? Why did he mix that name up?
Well, that's a slip of tongue. I mean, come on, anybody is entitled to a slip of tongue while speaking of Krishna Verma versus Prasad Mukherjee. That is that's not a deal breaker. We are discussing historical facts here.
Slip on that name.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you can pull threads on that, Aarti, till the cows come home.
This week has also
seen
this week has
that he has made regarding historical facts.
This week, Gaurav Bhatia has also.
Once you can just say that he was wrong.
Well, nobody admits.
But he was not wrong. That's the sad part.
He
has not admitted he was wrong.
Which Indian politician?
Arnab, I just want to say,
it's hard to imagine that just a few months back.
You can
the BJP and JDU were together.
Today, a dozen times, it proves that there is some serious error, sense of history and sense of geography.
Now, we move from geography and history to economics. Gentlemen, I have 15 minutes left. And now we focus on economics. History and geography we can go into later. On economics, there has been a fight between Piyush Goyal of the BJP seated next to me and Anand Sharma, Union Commerce Minister. Anand Sharma is not here. Piyush Goyal is very much here. Let's debate the facts. Fact number 1. The accusation Anand Sharma puts is that all the claims of Vibrant Gujarat and FDI are rubbish and that false claims are repeatedly made by Narendra Modi. He says that all these claims are completely factually incorrect. While the methodology Piyush Goyal of calculating FDI can be questioned, you would not doubt that Anand Sharma is right on facts on FDI. And many people have questioned the Vibrant Gujarat MOUs, that the money doesn't come in. So would you first respond to that before I get the comments?
Not at all, Arnab. You have to understand how FDI is calculated. I think I explained it to you earlier also, but for the benefit of your viewers. Give me a minute. Since you've raised the question, let me explain to your viewers how FDI is calculated in the country. FDI is
taken based on the registered office of a company and is attributed to the state.
After Randeep Surjewala, let him complete briefly and after that. No, one second. Let him complete and after that. Okay, this is a very serious point. You complete your point quickly and then after that. Yeah, go ahead.
FDI in India is attributed to the state where the registered office of a company is situated, and if there is no regional office of RBI in that state, at the nearest registered office. So if Kane Energy has their oil fields in Rajasthan, their head office in Gurgaon, but their registered office in Prabhadevi in Mumbai,
oh, so you're saying the
FDI comes into Maharashtra's category.
No.
If Reliance,
tough to buy that.
It's not tough to buy, but that's the reality. I'm surprised that the Commerce and Industry Minister of India does not know the RBI methodology of calculating FDI.
Now we'll get the response.
So Reliance has $7.2 billion.
Do you buy that? Okay, let's get
registered offices in Mumbai.
Do you buy that? The Indian Express reported that Gujarat saw a drop of 43% in the quantum of FDI flows in the state. This is the argument used by Piyush Goyal that you can have a big deal like BP, for example, a deal which is into billions of dollars, which may be money may not be shown against the Gujarat account, but what he's saying is the work is happening in Gujarat and Gujarat should get the credit. By the way, by the way, that BP deal did not happen during the Vibrant Gujarat Summit. But Randeep Surjewala has responded. Randeep Surjewala,
my friend, you're talking about
Randeep Surjewala, counter to counter Randeep Surjewala.
I have two facts I want to tell. While we are very happy with Gujarat progressing, but the hoax of figures of Vibrant Gujarat are like this. In 2011, the promised investment through Vibrant Gujarat in Gujarat was 20 lakh crores. The actual investment that came was 29,000 crores instead of 20 lakh crores. 8,300 MOUs, Shri Piyush Goyal, were signed by Mr. Modi as a sign of Vibrant Gujarat. Only 250 actually fructified. He said that he has received the highest FDI. Since 2000, 297 billion is the highest FDI. The highest FDI was received by Maharashtra, then by Delhi and Haryana, then by Tamil Nadu, then by Bangalore and Gujarat.
He says it's because the deals are not registered.
Pawan Verma, I just explained. You have not understood the method of calculating FDI, Surjewala ji.
That may be your way of looking at it.
Vibrant Gujarat of 2011.
Okay, few minutes left. Gaurav Bhatia, would you cut?
A lot of investments.
Gaurav Bhatia, do you cut?
If the central government doesn't clear any approval,
1 minute.
then obviously you're not
Piyush Goyal, Gaurav Bhatia's turn. Do you cut him some slack? Gaurav Bhatia.
One quick point I wanted to make, that why can't the BJP compare its FDI inflow with the Congress government, because the BJP was at the center also. So, I think it would be more relevant if the FDI inflow during the BJP government at the center is compared to the Congress government. Then these questions would not arise and there would be no need for an explanation as given by Mr. Piyush Goyal. We can have a pan-India comparison.
Everybody gets their facts wrong of late. Even the Union Home Minister thinks that when Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated, the NDA was in power. So everybody has got their facts wrong in this election season.
10 other facts.
No, everybody's got them.
There are 10 other facts which are contested.
Rahul Gandhi claims.
What about all the other facts?
I will come. 1 minute, please. Allow me to moderate. Allow me to moderate this. Rahul Gandhi says, Mr. Surjewala, hear me tonight. I am saying tonight politicians 90% get their facts wrong. But because they say it very assertively, they get away with it. And on some channels, they get away with it. We won't let them get away with it. Rahul Gandhi claims that the UPA has made more roads than the NDA. Rahul Gandhi claims the UPA has made more roads than the NDA. The centre has itself acknowledged, Randeep Surjewala, that more highways were built during the NDA term. Even Rahul Gandhi gets its facts wrong, but you don't. You're silent on that. Why?
But you must also remember what Rahul ji said. 50,000 kilometers is the National Highway Development Program. Out of that, 30,000 kilometers stands completed. 20,000 kilometers still left. 14,000 kilometers out of that is underway. And that is what Shri Rahul Gandhi said. and 40% of entire country traffic.
As far as my information, according to an affidavit, Mr. Surjewala, according to an affidavit filed by the Centre before the Supreme Court in July this year, my information is during the 10-year rule of UPA, the total length of national highways is 16,000 kilometers. The same term during the 9th 5-year plan when NDA was in power is 23,814 kilometers added to the highway network, or nearly 50% of the national highways constructed in 3 decades happened during the NDA period. So why don't you cut some slack, stop trying to, play the facts around and stop trying to mislead the people.
Not, but you mislead the people anymore, we'll catch you. Kilometers that are being constructed.
Rahul Gandhi, right or wrong?
Reading the affidavit with due regards to you, Arnab, selectively, and you are not reading the whole statement of Rahulji. 14,000 kilometers of National Highway Development Program that is today under implementation.
Allow him to come in before. Who made more roads? Pawan Verma. Aarti Jairath coming to you.
May I make a quick point? And I have said it before.
Poetry or a poetry?
It's a point. I want to make a point. Lies are lies, statistics are damn lies. Leaders use it and then their spokesman keep explaining it. The fact of the matter, Arnab, is that highway construction in this country is far more delayed and neglected than it should be. For a year, the NHAI did not even have a chairman appointed. And therefore, when leaders quote competitive statistics, they must be given in context, and beyond the point they prove nothing either for one party or the other.
But what have you said?
I have said...
Did NDA make more roads or UPA make more roads?
It all depends.
We're asking you for that.
Can I say something to you, Piyush? It all depends on how you contextualize statistics.
You can contextualize it.
Where's the contextualization?
Here you have an explanation and a response by the Congress.
That's the government's affidavit, and Rahul Gandhi in Madhya Pradesh says that they constructed 9,500 kilometers.
Point number 3 tonight. By the way, I'm getting a lot of messages from BJP leaders who say that, I'm not want to go back to it. They say that Narendra Modi is not talking about Chandragupta Maurya.
I said it.
Now you expect people to believe that the first reference to Chandragupta is not of Chandragupta Maurya of the Maurya dynasty, but of the Gupta dynasty.
Because he has clarified it very categorically, my friend.
Okay. I find it tough to believe. Now, next question. I find a lot of things tough to believe.
Man to be an anchor.
I am quite tough. But I find a lot of things tough to believe, including the Congress party claim that there was under Modi financial mismanagement and loss of revenue in Gujarat. Now, this is the claim. Whereas Planning Commission data says something completely different. Why are you twisting the facts there, Mr. Surjewala? You want to even say your Planning Commission data is wrong because according to your Planning Commission data, Narendra Modi has significantly managed to bring down public debt by 14%. How can you say financial mismanagement and loss of revenue? Pure politics?
When Shri Narendra Modi took over from Shri Keshubhai Patel,
yes,
45,000 crore was the debt of Gujarat. Today it is 1,38,000 crores. It is the third most indebted state in the country.
Both things are wrong.
Is this not a fact? Is this not reflected in their recent budget? When you compare the 2001-2 budget and you compare it, Mr. Piyush Goyal can laugh as much as he wants to. But 1,38,000 crore is the debt on Gujaratis today. The third most indebted state in the country is Gujarat. Is it not a fact? And does it not reflect the state of indebtedness?
When you show that as a percentage, does it go down by 14%?
When you look at percentages,
yeah, well, look at percentages. I thought everything. Getting a counter from the JDU tonight.
My debt to GSDP ratio is less.
So,
but the question is not the debt to GSDP ratio having gone down. The question is
the only ratio that matters.
When you are saying
and the debt has gone up by 90,000 crores.
When you are saying loss of revenue, financial mismanagement,
the third most indebted state in the country.
Counter, interestingly, covering fire for the BJP is coming from the Samajwadi Party. Take it because it doesn't come out every day. Gaurav Bhatia.
The only question, Arnab, is whether the facts were right or wrong. So I think all the spokespersons should either say yes, the facts were right, or they were wrong and admit that they made a mistake, or their leader made a mistake.
Nobody admits.
More importantly, all the leaders who are addressing the audience or the viewers should do their homework right and should ensure that the numbers that they throw at the audience are correct and not misleading. Otherwise, they are answerable to those people.
Gaurav, I have every data with me on file with hard copies in my iPad.
Goes up to 1 lakh,
Maharashtra is the country's
45,000 crores. What do you say to such a state?
Maharashtra is the country's most indebted state.
But the only point that I'm trying to make is that a person who is trying to be the Prime Minister of the country cannot mislead millions of Indians. That's
Aarti saying something. Gaurav Bhatia, Aarti. Gaurav Bhatia,
Aarti. Most indebted state.
Small point, Arnab.
By the way, I have one more.
I think these statistics are... Yeah.
No, go ahead, Aarti.
Sorry. Now, I wanted to say that, what do these statistics mean? In a country where you can't even agree on poverty figures, what do all these statistics mean? I mean, honestly, we've been quibbling about how many people are below the poverty line, how many above the poverty line. Should we use the Tendulkar figures? Should we use planning commission figures?
What happens is...
State figures. So, I mean, I think these statistics
Aarti, let me explain this. Let me explain this for a while. Gaurav, 1 minute. Gaurav, let me explain this.
Yeah.
Because in any country, when there is an election debate happening, then generally you are not allowed to make mistakes. Even when you are making a pot shot at your rival, you better have your facts right. I mean, whether in America or in the United Kingdom, which are functioningly excellent democracies, if you make a slightest mistake, you will be torn apart. That's true. In India, you can't just twist it so easily and expect not to be questioned. So therefore, tonight, my last point, 3 minutes into the debate, 3 minutes left.
One quick one.
3 minutes.
Maharashtra is the country's largest indebted state.
3 minutes.
Gujarat is not the third largest, and Gujarat comes 20th in the list of states which have debt from a debt to GSDP ratio. And if Gujarat's economy expands under Mr. Modi's dynamic leadership, and it falls from 38 to 24%. I think it's worth complimenting, isn't it?
If you check planning commission's debt figures, it's there on your website.
Yes, so if you will kindly see,
the planning commission,
the GSDP,
1 minute,
you will know who is the most indebted and how Congress has performed compared to Gujarat.
1 minute. You believe the planning commission? 1 second. Aarti, let's not all speak at the same time. I have a question. I have a question. So tonight the Congress spokesperson says that you go by the planning commission. Now, Anand Sharma says the share of manufacturing to the GDP has grown from 15% to 25% during the UPA regime. Now, the planning commission says that India's manufacturing sector has stagnated at about 16% of the GDP, with India's share in global manufacturing at only 1.8%. So now tell me, Mr. Surjewala, either Anand Sharma is right or the planning commission is right.
It's actually 15.11.
I thought about 16%.
It's 15.11.
Roughly we are in the same kind. Right. No, watch. I need to put it. Either Anand Sharma is right or the planning commission is right.
Complete statement of Shri Anand Sharma.
I've read the complete.
He also meant a portion of the services sector which can be part services, part manufacturing sector. Yes, manufacturing is a matter of serious concern. The national manufacturing zones that have been introduced by Prime Minister and the Commerce Minister are because
I'm talking of the manufacturing sector. Where did services come in?
Needs to be increased.
I'm talking about manufacturing sector. Manufacturing contributes 16%. In China, manufacturing contributes 34%. You make a claim that manufacturing has gone up from 15 to 25%. You are telling the people of India we are catching up with China. That is not correct. This is either correct or incorrect.
It's 15.11 and it's stagnated for 2 decades.
And what happens if
manufacturing is a collective effort of all stakeholders, states and center, and it's the way in many manner to creating that many more
that way you can say by that logic you can also say
has been brought out because of that.
That way you can also say
corridor is being brought up because of that.
That way you can also
many other corridors.
Mr. Surjewala, smart but not good enough.
Has been static.
Smart move, but
manufacturing needs to go up.
Mr. Surjewala, that's a smart move, but it's not good enough. By that logic, you can even say the media and the agriculture sectors are also effectively part of the manufacturing sectors, because we talk about manufacturing and the products of manufacturing are consumed by farmers. Please don't apply that kind of a logic. It was a smart move. I don't think you're getting buyers for that. Pawan Verma, do you buy that?
I don't buy it.
What's the moral of the story?
No, I tell you, I don't buy it. And the moral of the story, Arnab, is that unless the political leadership of responsible parties subject themselves to be corrected for a claim that has been made rashly or wrongly or deliberately to mislead, you cannot have a serious debate in this country.
Arnab, I'm happy to debate with any spokesperson one-on-one, whether Mr. Sharma wants to defend these figures or the finance minister. I have my figures.
But broader point being made here, the broader point made here, I go to Aarti, is that you see, now you will not, on history, some people make mistakes. On economics, some people. No, when you make mistakes, you accept we make mistakes. Yeah. That's it. Don't get so hyper defensive.
Don't take the people for dumb puppets whom you can just manipulate.
Okay, Aarti Jairath.
You can speak for yourself.
Aarti Jairath, very seriously. Aarti Jairath, will we see political parties correct themselves in India?
No, I don't think so. Because this has been going on for some time and it's going to continue going on. And I think the debates are just going to get worse and worse. Arnab, this campaign has gone on for far too long. Elections are next year in April. Campaign began in January this year. I mean, 1.5 years. I mean, obviously people are going to hurl insults and abuses at each other and misquote figures.
No, I think we give Gaurav Bhatia the last word tonight, because a corrigendum is a good thing. If there's something wrong which happens in the media, the channel or the paper says we made a mistake, you put a corrigendum.
And I have not received any rejoinder to what I said, by the way, Arnab.
Well, you can.
I am waiting for a rejoinder to my statistics.
Mr. Bhatia. Mr. Bhatia, please, last word tonight.
Yeah, I think the politicians should also learn. If they make a mistake, admit the mistake, apologize, and be better prepared the next time. Having said that, I think the Newshour and you can also play an instrumental role in the forthcoming elections by sharing with the viewers all the authentic data on social, economic and other parameters, and those would give everybody the fair chance to assess whether the BJP, Congress or a third front or any other party has done a good job or not, rather than, politicians debating. I think that
we will certainly good idea to give the data of riots in the different states in the last 10
years. We will do that, and including the riots and what led to it in Uttar Pradesh, Muzaffarnagar, the claims of Naresh Agarwal, etc., etc. Now, I think there's serious room for a strong factual index to be put out on the Newshour every day. We'll do that. We'll put the facts out every night, despite what the politicians may claim. Thank you so much. This has been very interesting. Thank you for joining me on debate number 2 tonight.
Thank you, Arnab.
Thank you, Mr. Surjewala.